What was the problems in the first quarter, do you think?
Oh, I think they've got to give some credit to Brisbane as well. I mean, they obviously turn up and they want to be competitive as well. It's not just, it is difficult at times to do what you want to do because there's an opposition there. So I thought once we got going and kept persisting at it, that we started to, the longer the game went, the harder we were running and finished the game off pretty strongly.
John, midway through the second quarter, I think those dreaded cameras flashed on you in the coach's box and you seemed pretty displeased with what was going on. Do you recall what precisely was happening at that moment?
Oh, it might have been a missed target or something. I don't know.
Okay. Pike, how bad's his hammy?
I'm not sure. We've, obviously we had to sub him, so we're hoping that it's okay. So we just, we'll have a look at it on Monday. I assume we'll get a scan Monday and see how it is. It was obviously bad enough to sub him, but we're still talking about whether he can keep playing or not. So hopefully he's okay.
It's only 6 days break for the next
game.
That'd be a consideration.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, it doesn't. If he's actually heard it, it sort of doesn't matter whether it's 6 days or 7 or 8 days. He'd be out anyway. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Sorry, go.
Was that last 2 and a bit quarters a bit closer to what you're sort of hoping for and expecting them?
Yeah, I think you got to give some credit to Brisbane at times. It's you don't just very rarely do you just go in and get it all your own way. So I just thought that we just kept running and kept working, and all of our key indicators, whether it was our tackles or our contested ball work, and kept persisting at through the course of the game. The longer that we kept doing that, we were able to have 33 shots on goal, which kept the opposition to 6 goals, which is not too bad.
It was his first full game in a long time. He moved pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He looked, particularly in the first couple of minutes, he looked really good. He was on fire the first couple of minutes. I thought he was. We'd actually forgotten what he was like when he was moving like that. So it was good to see him. Played 80 odd minutes and just good to get some decent game time into him and pulled up well. Both he and Sam got through the game and pulled up well, and there was no concerns with them at the end, which was important, particularly when we lost Pike and we were subbing. We were thinking that maybe one of those two we might have had to sub towards the end of the game, but they were fine. And a bloke like Tommy Derricks comes on and rucks virtually 2.5 quarters by himself and had a real go and contested well and ran strongly towards the end as well.
What did you think of Sam Reed's contribution?
Oh, I just thought it was good for him to play the game out. I mean, he got his hands to a few, just dropped a few. Whether it was in the air or on the deck, he just dropped a couple. So, clearly he missed those couple of weeks, a bit of match practice, but I thought he ran all right and just got his hands to a few, just dropped a couple. But he'll work from that and he'll get better.
Not to go through the entire list, John, but how about Dan Hannaberry? He's obviously come in for more than his share of attention so far this season. How did you see his game?
Oh, it was okay. Yeah, he was okay.
How do you think you're placed? How do you think you're placed ahead of next week's big game against the Hawks? How do you think 3 wins in a row now, John? How do you think you're placed heading into that?
We're okay. I mean, we've certainly got our started to play a bit better over 4 quarters, a bit more consistently over 4 quarters, and that's been the pleasing thing over the past 3 weeks, which we weren't doing early in the season. We'd play in surges and we weren't finishing their games off really strongly, but now we've seemed to be able to do that, play 4 quarters of football. But we come up against one of the sternest tests in the competition next week, and that's just the reality of what it is. So we'll see how we go against that, and I'm sure it'll be a really good test for us.
Will Buddy be fit for that?
Not sure yet. He was too close to call for this week. He wasn't able to do much at all, or anything at all really on Thursday. So we'll see how he goes next week, where hopefully he will be. And Tippett trained today and did the whole session and pulled up really well. So we're hoping that those 2 guys come in contention for next week.
So you would play Kurt if he's fit, if he can get through a full week of training?
Well, I mean, if he gets through a full week of training, he'd put his hand right up there. I guess he's a guy who's I mean, he's been able to train at different times during the past sort of 4 or 5 weeks, but he did a really hard session today and moved really well and wanted to keep on training. So with our reserves guys who had the bye, so that's a good sign for him. And if he pulls up well tomorrow and the next day, I'm sure he'll be in that mix.
Nice to obviously have another couple of targets forward.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, towards once we lost Pikey early, Pikey was the one that was a bit deep, and he was actually marking it pretty well. But then when he went off, obviously it left the workload to Reedy and Goodsey, who sort of plays a bit tall and small at different times. So Luke Parker went forward and took a couple of catches, and it'd be good to if Kurt was available to have him in the team, obviously, as well as Lance. So see how those blokes are during the week.
Nick Malcheski looked a bit sore for a long part of the game. How's that?
Yeah, I think he's okay. He just got a corky, but the good thing is he kept on playing, and I thought he played at a pretty high level for the rest of the game. He defended well and got a knock and was able to push through that and kept playing, so I thought he was pretty good in the end.
Thanks.
Nice.